Welcome in. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a good Tuesday. It is Wednesday. Welcome in. Thank you guys in the comments for Rafi Devers came through for us. I told you guys yesterday. There's certain guys I just don't like betting on, but sometimes you just know, and that obviously came through. Home run, prop overs, Red Sox first five and money line all cashed. That was a good day in the MLB streets. And then we kind of had some craziness in the both playoffs, NBA and NHL. Ended up the one play I talked about yesterday, we lost because Boston did not win the first half somehow. They lost by 2, and then they ended up winning by 30. So that's just classic. But the Pacers, battling back to win down what were they down 7? Down 7 or 8 with 40 seconds left in overtime. They come back and win. That was crazy. The Bucks just completely just gave up or something. I don't know. And then in hockey, Carolina Hurricanes, they were down 3-0 at home first period, came back, tied it up 3-3. Then they went down 4-3, tied it up again 4-4 and won. In double overtime they won? That was also a crazy game. And Vegas, Golden Knights, they won in overtime, I believe. Yeah, 3-2. Oilers up 3-2 now on the Kings. The Kings were up 2-0, and now they are down 3-2. The Edmonton Oilers just refuse to die, and they have played so much. I can't wait. I think Steve's going to come on when he normally does at like 11:30, and obviously he knows a lot of hockey. So I'm excited to talk to him about that because we were talking last week about how the Oilers defense probably just isn't going to hold up over the course of a playoff series or the rest of the playoffs. And somehow they've played very well the last couple games. They won 4-3 on Sunday. Only giving up 3 goals is good when they had given up, 4 and 6, I think, the first 2 games. And then yesterday they only gave up 1 goal on the road in LA, 3-1 winner. So that was pretty interesting too. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got baseball going on, obviously more NBA and NHL playoffs. And the NBA games today are just bangers. Golden State, Houston with their backs against the wall at home, down 3-1 against Golden State. And then the same situation in the late game, Lakers at home, back against the wall, down 3-1 against the Timberwolves. 2 fantastic games tonight. The home teams are favored in both games. Houston -4, Lakers -5.5. A lot of respect for the Lakers at home here. And I don't know, like, what if you're in the chat, what's your thoughts on this? Because I think, like, generally I would be on the Lakers here, but I just like, I don't know if I trust them. Like, they have to play like 6 players. They have to play perfect games to have a chance to win. I just don't know where I'm at with the trust level. Do I think Luka and LeBron are just going to go out sad like that? I don't know, but it's not really their fault. They don't have anyone else like on their team. There's nothing else they can do. Please, Edwards, close this out. I feel like Lakers probably get this one at home, but then lose on the road. Yeah, it's just like on the surface, if you would have told me, when did they last play? Sunday? On the surface, if you would have told me on Sunday that Rui Hachimura had 23 points, I probably would have thought the Lakers won because I would have been like, okay, LeBron and Luka are going to do their thing. If they can get 23 from Rui, I probably would have thought they won the game, and they didn't. And again, this is 4 guys playing 40 minutes, including LeBron and Luka playing 46 minutes, not coming out of the game, basically. Didn't come off the floor in the second half. I don't know. It's going to be 2 good games. I'm excited to watch them. I don't know from like a betting angle. We have Warriors -1.5, so we don't need to bet them. we're just kind of waiting to see if they can win one of these 2 games to cash that bet, and then don't have a series bet on Minnesota Lakers, but I don't want to bet the Lakers at -5.5. I just don't. I told you guys the other day I could see I could see LeBron having a more kind of focused game offensively, but again, he's 40 years old and he just played 46 minutes. I don't know. It's weird. Dewan, what's up? Dewan, what's your thoughts on Lakers Wolves tonight? Who do you have winning? I mean, okay, so LeBron had 27, 12, and 8 on Sunday, but how much let me pull up the actual game log here. LeBron had 27, 12, and 8. He shot 18 free throws, but he only took 9 field goal attempts. So, I mean, he was getting to the line a lot. Didn't do it late in the game, but what I don't know. Let's see. What's his what's like his points prop? $25.5. I feel like I like that, definitely. I mean, LeBron down 3-1 is we know what he's gonna do. I feel like this could be a good game for a same game parlay. I mean, let me see. I'm like so yeah, you like the Lakers? I'm so mad at myself because I kind of just had a feeling we get like those Jamal Murray games once a series, and I wanted to bet Jamal Murray points last night, and I kind of just like I forgot about it, and then of course he went off. Like I kind of like just figured that game was coming soon. Also, we have to talk about the clip. I mean, just utter disaster from the Clippers. I don't really know what else to say. Just pathetic effort from them last night. They were getting beat to every loose ball. And we talked about this. I said the Clippers are the better team. The Nuggets do play harder. They have better leadership. Jokic, Gordon, Murray are better leaders on the court than Kawhi and Harden. But just pathetic effort from the Clippers last night. Zubac, 5 rebounds. He had 1 rebound like going into the fourth quarter. James Harden, 11 points. What are we doing here? This is the playoffs. Must win. 11 points from James Harden. It's just terrible effort. I don't know. So they better hope they win and get to a game 7. I don't know what's going to happen in that game 7, but they better hope they win at home because they just don't. This Nuggets team is just not good. I don't know how else to say it. They just have the best player on the floor in Jokic, and they have Jamal Murray. And Aaron Gordon is like top end role player. And then you just have like, I mean, Christian Brown is a good role player, but they just literally don't have anything. Tell me how the Nuggets just won a game in which Jokic scored 13 points. That cannot happen. It can't. First of all, you can't let Jokic score 13 points. You can't let these other guys get confidence. You can't get playoff Jamal Murray or let him go get 40 points on you. You have to just let Jokic score. You cannot let him be a playmaker. I don't understand the strategy, and I thought it was just terrible effort, getting beat to every loose ball and stuff. I just thought that was pathetic from the Clippers. But I don't know. This could maybe be a little same gamer. I kind of like, let's see here. Has, let me see. He's had 27 and 25. I don't know. Can Julius Randle score 30? I don't know. I definitely think LeBron can score 30. Have you seen this Atlanta news? Yeah. Okay. We never talked about that, but here's my take on that. No team I don't know. They got to figure out something. I mean, there's nothing you can do when it's like it's your dad works for the team, but there needs to be some way to where just like random kids can't get access to these guys like phone numbers and stuff. Like I don't really know what's going on with that. But I saw it wasn't even just Shador. It was like 5 or 6, 7 guys got, prank called. I am so like I love a good I love a good prank call. So I can't it's stupid. It's stupid, but I do love a good prank call. The people that were acting like and look, I love Matthew Berry. Matthew Berry is a big reason why even started creating fantasy content. So I'm not saying anything bad against Matthew Berry, but if you go look at Matthew Berry's Twitter, he was acting like I don't know. He was acting like the kid was gonna go to jail or something. I don't know. Like he was acting like this was the most egregious thing ever. Like it was just a prank call. I don't know. Like it's immature and like the kid should get, told don't do that, I guess. But like it's just a prank call. I don't know. Like I feel like because it was a big name, it got this like huge reaction. But like I said, I think there was like 5 or 6, like Tyler, it happened to Tyler Warren and some other guys that went in the first round. And I didn't really see any discourse about it. The actual and look, you guys can come at me if you want. I will accept it. But the actual prank call I thought was funny. Probably not in the moment for Shador, but to tell someone to like I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny. Keep waiting was actually like a funny line, but totally you can't do that, and there should be no situation where these kids should be able to get these phone numbers. So they got to figure that out. But the actual prank call is kind of funny. I thought it was funny. His dad got fined like big money though. I don't. Does he even make money? Like what? Like what is the? What's the salary for Jeff Ulbrich? Like, is he making cash to where he can afford a $100,000 fine? I'll look that up. Or do you think the team just pays that? Probably not. They're probably mad at him. Jeff Ulbrich's estimated salary as the New York Jets defensive coordinator is around $1.6 million. Okay. Yeah, okay, so $1.6 million. So, I mean, that's a good little chunk of this guy's yearly salary. He just got fined. All right. That Boston call yesterday was too easy. Yeah, that was a sweat free. They kind of just jumped all over Francis. All right, do we think Julius Randle could score 30 points? I feel like he could. And I feel like most people would just be betting on Ant after that, he dropped 40 the other night. I kind of maybe think we zag a little bit. Julius Randle 30, LeBron 30. I don't want to put a winner of the game in here. So maybe just that. There's like a profit boost though. I think it has to be 3 legs though. Maybe I don't hate Reeves assists. I don't hate Conley. This at 9.5. That's a little low. I was gonna say maybe under, but maybe Lakers first half, like they come out ready to play. Oh, we can't put first half in this. Never mind. All right, maybe Reeves assists looks a little interesting to me. 29-1 odds on this. Might be a little look. Do you think the NBA will take action against Tyrese dad? I don't know. What was going on with that? What's with these dudes' dads? I mean, this kind of started with Ja Morant's dad, I feel like. Like, what are you doing? Get going on the floor. What was that? I can't believe I forgot to talk about that. I don't understand what he's doing. Like, dude, first of all, Giannis is like 2 feet taller than that guy. And you're stepping up to press Giannis. Like, I think we all know Giannis is like so nice, like too nice. Could you imagine if Giannis had the mentality of like Ron Artest? Like, he would have probably just he probably would have put him in the hospital, dude. Like, what was that guy doing? I didn't understand that, Guru, at all. Like, why did it come? Like, what was the reasoning? Did that come out because he was talking smack to Halliburton? I mean, it's the NBA playoffs, dude. Like, you're going to talk smack to no matter who you're playing, win or loss. Like, are you like that, like, butthurt about it? And look, I love Tyrese Halliburton as a player. I've loved him since Iowa State. I wanted the Cavs to draft him. But dude, look, clearly, like, there's something mental going on with Halliburton. Like, this is like in his head. He even went and he like tweeted like overrate that. Like, dude, like, you really care like what the fans and stuff are like saying to you? Like, who cares? I don't know. I thought that was weird, but whatever. The Pacers are going to get look. I think the Cavs are going to smoke the Pacers. I think this might be like a five game series. What are the odds on it? Yeah. What's the total games? Oh wait. Over under total games. It's minus 122 over 5.5. The Cavs are going to smoke the Pacers. And a few minutes later, yeah, I saw Giannis did that to Mathurin too. I don't know what, but those teams. First of all, we know those teams don't like each other. Like, that has been a thing since, like not the bubble, but the NBA Cup and stuff a few years ago. So like we know they don't like each other, but I don't really know what is going on with that. But Tyrese Halliburton's dad was one of the craziest things I've seen. To walk up and press Giannis is nuts. Also, I tweeted it out last night, and then like I don't know if somebody commented back to me. I don't know if they were a Bucks fan. They were like, he's not leaving. I would set this at minus 250 that Giannis is not on the Bucks next year. Like, I would actually be surprised if he is not on the Bucks next year. I don't know where he's going, but I feel like at this point it's almost like a foregone conclusion that he's not going to be on the team. Like, the team, like, they have no first round picks. They stink. They have no outs to improve whatsoever. So I don't really see why he would stay there. He's gone for sure. Yeah, like I said, this was probably a Bucks fan that replied back, but I don't know. I would say it's foregone that he is not coming back. Whether it's OKC or I feel like OKC and Houston are the most likely destinations, but I still think Houston's more likely for Durant. So if OKC does not win the title or does not make the finals, I don't know. Do they make the move? No one can beat their offer. They probably wouldn't even have to move anyone huge, just because they have so many picks. Like, if they just threw all their picks and one young guy, they could probably get him, because nobody has the capital in terms of picks to offer other than them. So they could probably get away. Like, do we think there's a way they could get Giannis and keep Jalen Williams, keep Chet? I mean, we're talking about a potential lineup that's like, I don't even know what, like Shea, Jalen Williams, Giannis, Chet. You could probably still throw. I mean, they'd still have Dort. I mean, I don't think Dort would get moved. So what? A starting lineup of Shea, Dort, Jalen Williams, Giannis, Chet. I just don't know like what, because so like if the Bucks move him to like say the Knicks have nothing to give them. The Knicks traded every pick they have to get Bridges. So you're essentially saying, they would get like Bridges and Towns for Giannis. I just don't know. If I'm the Bucks, I don't know how that helps me because we stink anyways. So by the time that we were good again, having Towns and Bridges is not going to matter. So I don't really think the Knicks are a logical fit. Maybe San Antonio calls, Houston, they could give you some stuff. They could move Jalen Green, but it's kind of like with the capital of picks that OKC could offer, I think they could get by not offering Jalen or Chet and still get them because of just the pure draft capital that they can provide that no one else in the NBA can. I mean, they could throw in like 3 or 4 first rounders on top of, Kassan Wallace was a higher pick recently. So you could throw him in there with some picks. Even if they had to move Jalen Williams or Chet, I don't know who would they rather keep in that situation. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming Jalen Williams, but I don't know. That would be an interesting conversation. Yeah. Anyways, I think the Cavs are gonna smoke the Pacers. So the Pacers, I don't know. They can do whatever they want, but so much fake tough guys in the NBA. Yeah, Portis. I don't know if I'd call Portis a fake tough guy though. He actually might just be crazy, but there are a lot of fake tough guys. Bobby Portis is not one that I would steer clear of that guy. He might just be clinically insane. For tonight, though, like I said, probably not going to bet on the first game because we have Warriors -1.5. So hopefully they win and just cash that. If not, we're going to have to strap up and cash it on like Friday night, I guess they would play, or Saturday night, whenever that would be. This game, I definitely want to make a same game parlay, but I just don't really trust the Lakers right now to bet them on a side. So maybe this like LeBron 30, Randall 30, Reeves 4 assists, 29-1, something high odds. We can boost it up with one of these profit boosters. Just have some fun. Is Doc coming back? There's no way they bring Doc Rivers back. There's no way. Just clean house. Get rid of Giannis. Fire Doc Rivers. Rebuild. It's time. It's just time. They won a title. Okay, it's not the end of the world. They won a title. So that that you can look back on that. Like we hit on the Giannis pick. Things went well. We won a title. We didn't get another. We never got a chance to get another. They never got back in position to get another title, but they got a title, and that's all that matters. But it is time to it's time to blow it up, I think. It is just it's that time. I think Steve is here, so I'm gonna add him in. I definitely want to pick his brain on some NHL before we talk about some other stuff. Let me pull this up here. What are there? Three games tonight. Tomorrow. Put him in here. Steve, how are we doing today?
Good. How you doing, Ben? How's everybody else doing?
Pretty good. Dude, I have been dialed into the NHL playoffs. Absolutely dialed in. And like last night, that Carolina game was crazy, down 3-0, and then come back win in double overtime. That was wild. But I wanted to get your thoughts on overall because we talked last week, and the Kings, since we talked last week, have not won a game, and now the Oilers are up 3-2. What is going on
Okay.
here?
Okay. Do we want to go series by series really quickly?
Yeah, let's do that.
We can go through all of them. Okay. Well, let's.
Yeah.
I think you got them there. I can't really see.
Yeah, here I can pull up. I'll just pull the games up, and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
yeah.
Let's talk Montreal, Washington. Like that has been like must see TV. They like it's chaos. It's physical. Goalies are getting hurt. They had a double e-bug scenario. For those that don't know, the e-bug is a third goalie who's not a professional hockey player, who's just in the building, who potentially has to go in if ever remembers the Zamboni driver for the Leafs beat the Leafs.
That's
So it's
crazy
crazy.
that could happen in like a playoff scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. Well, and even the crazier part is so Montreal had to put their e-bug in, who I guess is like some Montreal cop. And then Washington had like Logan Thompson got hurt, and then they got to put in a third goalie who's not an e-bug. So because I know in Calgary, I play a lot of hockey, they have a double e-bug. So they've got the first e-bug, he has to be in the rink, but then I think they've got a second e-bug on call if they need the second e-bug. So I'm not sure how the Caps got away with being like, yeah, we got a third goalie here. Can we put him in? Who's actually a professional? But anyways, it was chaos. That series has been extremely entertaining. Montreal is young, fast, looks good. The Caps, best season, best team in the NHL this year in the regular season. They still look really, really good. They're big, they're physical. Ovi's still doing it. Like it's crazy to me. I don't quite get it. It's got to be that Russian gas. Um, so this is must see TV. I think it's been the best series for me so far. We go to Florida, where you got the Battle of Florida. Like they're axing each other with hatchets in Florida. Like you got Brandon Hagel absolutely blowing up Sasha Barkov, complete blindside. And then they go after and retaliate against Hagel, stiff arm to the face from Aaron Ekblad, who just got back from a PED suspension. Like those two teams absolutely hate each other. So for those sports fans out there, like maybe I'll wind back just a little bit. The thing about the NHL is the regular season is kind of ho-hum like NBA. But there is no better sport on planet Earth than NHL playoffs. If you're not a hockey fan, just tune in because the drama is just through the roof every single night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like an adopted hockey fan since I'm basically half Canadian now. So, I've always watched the NHL playoffs, but I've been more in tune, now just because I know like, you're a big hockey fan and stuff. So I'm trying to get more into it, and it's been awesome. So I know Dewan in chat is a big Capitals fan. He's from like DC area. So do you think, like, I'm assuming you think Washington closes this out tonight?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Uh,
know either. It has kind
I
of
don't know.
been like hit or miss there. And some of these, like, even last night, it's like from my level of a hockey fan, it's like Carolina's going back home. Like they're going to close this out. And then they're instantly down 3-0. Like, what was going on with that? That was crazy.
I didn't see the start of the game, so I don't exactly know. There is something about desperation. That will be the one thing if you look at the Oilers series, they're going to go back to Edmonton. The Kings are going to be desperate. And then they're going back to, yeah, it's 3-2. So they're going back to, actually, they're going back to they're going back to Edmonton because it'll be game 6. So the Kings are going to be desperate. And there's something about a desperate hockey team that's tough to beat. So it's not surprising the Devils went up 3-0. But normally, especially you got a good hockey team, eventually they can claw back. 3-0 in the playoffs, pretty remarkable that they were able to do that, especially against Markstrom, who's a good goalie. But yeah, desperation is very powerful in the NHL.
Yeah, Nathan said, I think Caps close it out. I mean, I could definitely see it. It should be a good game. Florida, Tampa. I mean, that's been a good series too. I thought like again though, like Florida, they lost that game. I know like it's not a big travel distance between where Florida plays and Tampa. Like they're in the same state, so it's not that big of a deal. But I mean, Tampa got that really good game from Vasilevsky last week over the weekend, and was able to get that game. But that'll be interesting. What about Blues and Jets? What is this at here? 2-2 going back to what, Winnipeg or
You're going back to Winnipeg. So this is
yeah.
a really interesting series because you have essentially the second best team in the NHL against the team that, just squeaked in, was one of the worst teams the first half of the year, one of the best teams second half of the year. First two games, Winnipeg took it to them handily, tight outcomes, but looked pretty confident that they were going to run away with this series. Then the Blues came back and absolutely smoked them twice. I think, if I remember correctly, they chased Connor Hellebuck twice. Best goalie in the NHL got chased twice. So if you're the Jets, you're kind of ringing the oh shit bell. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, because you thought that this was going to be a walk in the park. So we'll see. This is going to be an interesting series. I will say that I thought game one was good. I felt that this has been the least entertaining series so far because game three and four were just blowouts. But we'll see if it heats up because you've got two really, really big physical teams. And I think Winnipeg is now going to be, well, they're going to realize that they're in a series.
Yeah, of all the series, I think this is the one I've watched the least of, so I'll definitely tune into that tonight. At least it's the late night game, so I'll check that out. Kind of, I'll get the double screen going with the Lakers game and that game on, so that'll work out. What about we can look at tomorrow too, just to talk series wise. So obviously Toronto up 3-2 after that. What was that about last night? Again, like I said, you would think a team at home to close something out would get it done, and that is not what happened last night. I mean, they got skunked. They didn't even score a goal.
So I think they're 1-13 in closeout games in some prolonged period. So they struggle to close it out. They so they the media was essentially saying, those that are close to the team, around the team, were saying that they are calm, whereas in years past they've been a little bit nervous, seemed nervous, and they seemed calm. So heading into last night's game, uh, I expected a better showing from them. But one of the things that happens, it happens in all sports, sorry, happens more in hockey and basketball. When you play a 7-game series, the coaching, the players, it all converges. You start learning about the other side. You play them repeatedly. You see their style. The coaches all change the way they're approaching things. Ottawa, like Toronto, where they scored 2 OT winners at the start of the series.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
been,
so.
I think they had a false sense of a lead. All these games were tight. The fact that they were calm can be a good thing in that they're not nervous and they're not going to grip their sticks too tightly. It can also be a false sense of, hey, I think we're up on this. We're going to win this series, where it has been very close the entire time. So
Yeah, and I mean, you can see Vegas clearly is expecting that too. Ottawa slight favorites -118, but I don't know. I mean, this could. So do you think it's going to go game 7? I think that would
I
probably be
said from
likely.
day
Yeah.
one, this series is going to go game 7. And when I lived in Ontario during the last time they went through this was like the best. No, not the best. It was a very good time of hockey having Ottawa and Toronto go toe to toe. So I just can't imagine that this doesn't go 7 games. But I still think that the Leafs are going to win.
Yeah, that would be crazy for them to win in 7 games. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Vegas, Minnesota. I mean, I think personally, again, you know more than I do, but just from what I've watched, Vegas seems like the way better team to me. Now, I mean, it's still 3-2. It's still a close series, but I feel like Vegas is better on the surface.
Yeah, significantly better. The Wild, I'm actually really shocked that they made the playoffs because they faltered so hard down the stretch. They had a few injuries. So the fact that they're giving Vegas a run for their money, or like at least standing up to them, I'm a bit surprised. It's good on the Wild. They've got a good hockey team. It's not a bad hockey team, but the Vegas Golden Knights are just very big, top to bottom, good, great defense, good goaltending. I don't think that, again, talk about kind of actually, I think this series has actually been quite entertaining. Like the hockey's been good, where I'd say St. Louis and Winnipeg has been the least entertaining, but this is second least entertaining.
Yeah, I think the games have been good. Our Dallas Stars up 3-2. But we
I
have to talk about
know.
Landeskog. What that was a crazy story there. Like I wasn't really like super familiar with it going into the playoffs, but then obviously was watching the game and stuff. That was a pretty crazy. What was
Yeah.
that over the weekend? I think.
Yeah, hasn't played in 3 years, hasn't played a professional game of hockey in 3 years, and has come back and returned to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So we'll see how effective he is. You know, I think it's a big morale boost for the team because he's their captain. And so I think that's probably, or he was their captain. I don't know if maybe they gave it to McKinnon. I don't know if they gave it back, but I think it's a big morale boost. Are you going to get a bunch of performance out of him? I don't know. We'll have to see. Um, he was kind of a solid two-way player before, didn't bring a ton of offense, physical, but very reliable, help you win those close games. Is he going to be that same guy after not playing competitive hockey for 3 years? I don't know. But in the room, I'm sure they love having him.
Yeah, I mean, well, he came. So he scored on Saturday, and then he didn't do anything in that next game. So
Yeah. Yeah.
might have just been, just the flash in the pan of having him back. Obviously that would provide a boost for the team, like you said. So
Yeah.
interesting. Do you
But
think Dallas can win? I mean, Colorado's pretty big favorites here at home to send it back to Dallas, but I don't know. That's
I
one thing
think this
I've
one's going
noticed.
7 as well.
Yeah, that's one thing. One thing I've noticed though with hockey, at least, it seems to me like I don't know if it's because it's the playoffs or what, but I feel like when you get these huge favorites in like football, for example, in the playoffs, like even if they don't cover, like if they're minus 500 or whatever, they typically win the game. But hockey, it's not even often that you get these big like odds. Like, minus 180 might be the highest you see for one of these playoff games. And then even last night, Carolina got to like minus 300 and they were instantly down 3-0. So it just doesn't seem like you really even get those big favorites when it comes to the playoffs. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. There's so much parity in the NHL that any team can win any night. Like even I think there's a chance like you can make money in the NHL. You can make money for sure. There's like scenarios where I think the books don't necessarily cover them as well. A team playing on a second night, huge favorite. You can find some value there, or some kind of performance opportunities in particular. But it is a tough league to win night in, night out. Um, I'm just trying to think of like it, the only scenario where I think you're going to get some big mismatch in terms of odds is if you've really got like the Sharks or the Blackhawks playing, and obviously they're not in the playoffs. But otherwise, anyone can win any night. And maybe the last thing I'll mention on hockey, just to help educate folks, is they went to this kind of regional structure where they've got kind of the concept of a wild card. So the divisions play each other, and then whoever wins the division plays, wild card one, wild card two. And they did this to try to have as many regional divisional matchups as possible. So you get the Leafs and you get the Senators more frequently. You get the Bruins, you get the Leafs more frequently, so they can create these rivalries. And when you get into a 7-game series where you're talking about the top 16 teams out of 32, they're all pretty good. They can all beat each other on any single night. Which then you think about winning the Stanley Cup, you got to win 16 games in 2 months. You can you can potentially play 28 games in 2 months.
Yeah,
It's wild.
that is wild. What all right, like what's your thoughts? I know we talked about it last week. Kings Oilers. Like I said, the Oilers have not lost. We were talking smack about them last week. They haven't lost since. Do you think, first of all, do you think they're going to win the series? Looks like they might, but we'll see. And do you still think, like, I don't know, what is the long term outlook here for the remainder of the playoffs? Let's say they get through this series. I mean, it kind of sounded to me like last week you were talking about, the defensive issues and having to play these guys so much. Like, obviously, that's going to compound the more games you play. But I mean, I thought for sure LA would win last night, and they did not.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they came out so kind of flat, as I'll describe it. Like they're in their own building and they kind of came out flat. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't really get it. If we go back and we look at that series, so Jim Hiller made a mistake on was it that the game 3 where he challenged a goal that was obviously a goal. I don't know what he was thinking to risk it. And then they put the best players in the world on the power play who obviously scored. So that was the coach's mistake. And then the next game, he made a mistake again. I'm drawing a blank. Did they have a lead and then the others came back? Yeah, I think that's what happened. Yes, that's what happened.
Yeah.
In the third period, they just sat on their heels and tried to wait out the clock. Which the problem is when you play a team like the Oilers, who have quite like the highest top end firepower in the NHL, they got a lot of deficiencies. You're going to find yourself in a tough position. In that game as well, you had Evan Bouchard, who was absolutely terrible for 2 periods and then scored 2 goals. And he's got some record now where he's one of 4 defensemen to ever have 2 back-to-back multi-goal games. The first goal that he scored, I think it was the first one, was literally a fluke. He like swiped at the puck, it was going wide, hit a skate, and went in. The other one was a good goal. It was a Boosh bomb. I think it was in the overtime. I've seen so much hockey, I can't remember. So let's boil it down. The Oilers started winning when they put their backup goalie in. They still look structurally very fragile. And what we're seeing right now is, their best players capitalize and score. Not surprising. That's their whole shtick. So, like, I still like LA to win this series just because they're a better top to bottom team. But I probably wouldn't be putting too much money on it going either way because it's tough to bet. I think we said this last week. It's tough to bet against McDavid and Draisaitl. Like,
Yeah, it's like, yeah, and that's
it,
exactly right. But
it's
yeah,
like Shaq and Kobe.
I was gonna ask about the goalie change, like if you thought that clearly, I mean, it made some sort of a difference. I don't know if it's like obviously long-term thing, but it helped him in the short term at least.
Yeah, like I think he's only let in one bad goal where Skinner terrible. But okay, so to answer your question of, well, what does the West of the playoffs look like? So then Edmonton moves on, and then they play Dallas, Vegas, Winnipeg. Well, those teams are significantly better than the Kings.
Right. Well, another like it's tough for me to understand how you come out flat at home against the Oilers too. Not just because of that, but because the Kings and the Oilers have played like every year the last like 3 years. Like these teams are like, I don't want to say a rivalry, but it's like they've played in the playoffs the last like 3 seasons, and the Oilers have always got the best of them. So you would think that now the Kings have a chance to like, you know, do like knock the Oilers out. Like you would think they'd come out and be like, okay, we're gonna put this thing away, and they just didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Jim Hiller. I don't know where he would stand on the coaching spectrum. Um, or kind of like coaching rankings. Like you think he'd be good. They've had good coaches in the past, and so they probably have a good eye for coaches. But I don't know. I don't know how you got the harmonicas going. Like, the Korean ladies are in the building. Like
Yeah, I saw that.
you would think that they would be amped up considering that they kind of bobbled the 2 games before that. Like should have won the 2 games before that. Maybe not the first one. The second one, they definitely should have won.
Yeah, they you shouldn't give up 2 goals in the third, to lose a game, whatever that was, Sunday night or whatever.
Yeah. But again, if you sit back on your heels for 20 minutes and you let
I just
McDavid
don't
and
like that
Draisaitl,
I don't like that strategy in
it's
anything.
terrible.
It's stupid strategy. Well, okay, so I looked at Stanley Cup odds. The Canes are favored to win the Stanley Cup, which I think is crazy personally. Not saying they're not a good team, they clearly are, but I don't know, like I like who does anyone stick out here among these teams?
Um,
I don't know. Florida hasn't looked like Florida did last year to me. Not saying they can't win it, but I mean, I would say Florida more likely than Carolina, personally.
so I think that I can't remember if we talked about this. Like one of the downsides of this regional thing is that you then end up with a kind of a weird path to the NHL. Sorry, the Stanley Cup. And so like the teams just beat each other up before they can even get there. You play a month of like the most physical hockey of your life. Some teams just can't sustain that for 2 months. You almost need like an easy round to get through. So if you look at the Caps and the Canadians, I think their path is the easiest to the Cup, theoretically. If you look at Florida and Tampa, like they're just beating the hell out of each other. Like I can't see those two teams after this first round being able to sustain the whole way.
That's what I was going to
Carolina,
ask about. Like the Caps at 12-1. Do we think is there actually a chance they could win this?
well, there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance for sure. That would be a good value futures bet. They're the best team. They were the best team in the regular season. Um, if they get out of round one, obviously the odds are going to change. Um, they're big. They've got Ovi. They can score. Their goalie didn't get hurt. Like long term, he came back. So, yeah, I think that would be a worthwhile. Throw a couple ducats on it, a unit, half unit.
Yeah, I might look into that because I want a team to root for. I don't have any active real futures really. I mean, I had like those parlays with the stars, but I'm not really counting on something like that, winning. It's like a crazy
Yeah.
thing. So
Well,
I'm looking
The
for a
Stars are
team
back
to.
though. Like the Stars are looking
Yeah,
good
they no,
again.
they are definitely.
Might hit on that leg, but
Yeah.
so anyways, Carolina got a huge bump because they won round one, and they won in such a kind of dominating fashion. That's where they're getting the bump, just because they've got less rounds to go. We don't know who these other teams if they're going to make it out. The one thing that I think is crazy is that the Leafs, even though they're still up in their series,
Yeah.
like the Senators are. Oh, wait a minute, I'm reading that wrong. It's darkening the screen. Never mind. Ignore me. Ignore
Yeah,
me.
the Leafs are 11-1 and
Ignore me. Yeah,
the Sens are 60-1.
ignore me. That was just my old eyes.
I think like how I would look at this though, like if you could get like if we think Washington could make the Stanley Cup Finals, like if you have a 12-1 on them, like it's easy to hedge that a little bit and just make money. I mean, I don't think they probably wouldn't be favored depending on who they played, I guess. Like if they play Vegas or Edmonton or Dallas or something, like they are not going to be favored. So it's a little bit more challenging to hedge it, but I don't know. I need like a team to root for, and I don't really have a hockey team, so I might just pick one and bet on them, and then that'll be my team for
Yeah,
the rest
the
of this.
Caps are not a bad option. I can't. They have the easiest. Let me just pull up the bracket here of who they have to go through next because I don't have it memorized. So yeah, maybe not. The Caps have to go through. The Caps or Canadians have to go through Carolina,
Okay.
and the Leafs or Sens have to go through Tampa or Florida. So at the start of the year, at the start of the playoffs, that was the stronger leg. Is the Toronto, Ottawa, Tampa, Florida, and they saw that Carolina and New Jersey were weaker.
Mhm.
Maybe after how well Carolina played in round one. That's maybe seen a little bit differently now, but look at the matchup. You got Carolina versus Washington. You got a really defensive structured team in Carolina, make very few mistakes. Um, well coached Caps team, but has a little bit more offense, a little bit more scoring. Um, it would be a good series. Be probably low scoring, but yeah, I still think that the Caps would then have the easiest. And then if you look at whoever comes out of Florida and Ontario, let's assume both of those go 7 games. They're just going to beat each other up. So they're going to get to the third round, and they're going to be tired,
Yeah.
fatigued, and injured.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I'm gonna look more into it. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, it's for those that don't watch hockey though,
I would
if you
encourage
want to
everyone
start,
to because it's been fun. It's been very fun.
yeah, it's this is the best time of the year. It's tough to defend regular season. Feels a little lifeless, but this time of year it's pretty good.
All right. We can talk obviously about our fantasy league and stuff. I did want to show you. So I started working on MLB power rankings. So I want to obviously we did this for NFL. So I'd love to do it for baseball too. I need to add some more stats in and stuff and tweak it. So I didn't even make a power ranking to start out with. I just kind of made this team score testing formula to look at. So I think it's interesting. Like the Cubs up there, obviously Boston, Yankees, Diamondbacks, Phillies. I thought it was interesting the Cardinals are so far up there, considering the Cardinals are like 12 and 17. They're not particularly good. So I thought it was funny that they were ranked like above the Dodgers in this. But overall, I didn't think it was that bad of a ranking system.
Well, the one
This
thing
is
about the
more like
Diamondbacks that's
offensive weighted
interesting
though.
is that they've had some of those like explosion games,
Hmm.
which I'm sure probably creates some outlier games, which then skews the stats. Um, but it also, I always look at that. If you have teams that can explode, um, then are they underperforming? Is this actually give an indicator of the team is better than their record? Hey, maybe you should try to find some value on that team. But anyways, sorry I interrupted, but I just wanted to. Oh, well, I wanted to defend the Diamondbacks.
No, I agree with that. I mean I like the Diamondbacks as a team. Um, I don't have a real problem with them. It's just this is a very like offensive, obviously heavy weighting system. So I whether it's with custom data upload or what, I need to add some more stuff in, and then maybe if I have to manually update it, I'm not going to update it every day, obviously, but we can do it. We'll do like a once a week update on it, and then we can talk about it on here. But there's definitely some more layers I need to add to refine kind of the power ranking. But just to start out, I wanted to get an idea. I thought it was interesting for us to talk
Yeah,
about, and
let's
then
keep going through it.
yeah, looking down, I wanted to look at like the bottom teams. Like the Angels start out on fire, and then they've just been absolutely terrible ever since. Let's see what their record. I mean, 12 and 16. Orioles are so far down though. Like I thought that was crazy, right? I mean, the Orioles are terrible right now. They're 11 and 18. But last year, you think about this was like an up and coming team. Like people thought they were gonna potentially go win the World Series. They're like, oh, this is their window with all these young guys, and they have started out terrible and second worst in this ranking system here, like behind the White Sox and Rockies, like some of these truly just bad teams. I think that was funny, but I mean they've been bad. The Orioles have been bad.
What stats do you have in here? Do you have any pitching on here?
No, so this is just offense right now. So it's basically taking a different weight for hits, doubles, triples, home runs, walks, and then across like an at bat and like a game by game level, I guess.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I want to add pitching too, and then I don't know, like, what do you think? Like, do you not that we can't do it, but what would your thoughts be if we do like an offensive power ranking, pitcher power ranking, and then some sort of like a combining the
Combined.
two, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I often do that in my baseball player evaluations. I'll have one for batters, one for pitchers, and then um, especially in leagues that have limited transactions, sometimes you need to get smart about where your weaknesses are or where there's opportunities, and you need a way to balance that across the positions. So I'll create a combined, kind of ranking that includes pitchers and batters, to help me, to help me, probably first of all, understand where my team is weaker from a player perspective, and then to help find, some opportunities on the waiver wire or trades or whatnot. Less trades, probably more waiver wire. So long answer to yes.
Yeah, so I'll keep playing around with it, and like I said, I may add some like more advanced stats. If I do that though, it'll just be like we'll update it, every week before the stream, and then we can talk about it on here. But just
Well,
something
let's look at
interesting.
it. Let's look at a few more of these because I find this is the stuff that I find so fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's go. And there was another team at the bottom that I was kind of surprised by. Texas
Oh
Rangers.
yeah, Texas. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, they're not bad. They're 16 and 14. So that they're not terrible right now, but like I said, they have dealt with some injuries. Langford missed some time. So offensively, I mean, if we just look at, you know, home runs, 30, right? That's not a high mark here. The Angels have 40, 35 for the Orioles. And then if we go up to the top, I mean, there's teams with upper 30s and 40s home runs. So the Rangers are at the bottom of just the home run leaderboard right now, which, you know, you can say what you want, but if you want to win in the playoffs, at least nowadays, you have to hit home runs. I think that is certain.
Yeah, yeah. You got to be able to. You got to be able to get the big bat at the right time. Um, even if what was the stat I heard yesterday? The Jays. So in first innings, the Yankees have more home runs than every inning that the Jays have played.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So, I mean, if we look, they're towards the bottom of this ranking system, and man, they came out on fire, and they have just been terrible. 2-8 in their last 10. They're 13 and 16 now overall. They have really, really struggled offensively, particularly the last like
Yeah,
couple weeks. It's been pretty
yeah.
rough.
I'm actually surprised they're ranked as high as they are, and the Orioles are actually as low as they are, considering that the Orioles don't have pitching stats included. Like, if the pitching stats for the Orioles are included, they might fall through the floor. They might be
Yeah, they might be like
last.
the worst team in baseball.
But the Jays, like I was listening to you on the radio the other day. It's like they have four guys who have offense, and there's a bit of psychology, I think, around it in that those four guys feel really responsible for the offense. So if one or two of them go a little cold, you're in trouble because no one else is really, has the pedigree to kind of step up and kind of do some damage. One of the things that I always look at is, okay, well, how do you line your batters up? And obviously the data tells you to put all your best batters at the top of the lineup because they're going to get the most bats. They might get one extra kind of through the order. But I think it would be interesting if the Jays, and I'm sure someone's going to roast me in the comments, spread those guys out so that if one of the other guys who's batting 200 gets on base, at least they've got somebody on base. And then when you're the other side and you're planning your pitching rotation against them, it's really easy against the Jays. You go through the order three times, you don't let it happen on the fourth. It happens, you don't have to really worry about after the third rotation and those four guys are done. So, I know you don't get as many bats out of them at bats, but you're really only debating one more at bat.
Hmm.
Could you do more? Could you make it harder to play against if you spread them out a bit?
Yeah, I think so. One of the big problems, I'm looking at some of their other numbers too. I'm looking, so as a team, the Jays against the lefties, they're actually really good. So they're top 10 in like isolated power, top 5 in like weighted on base. Even just plain batting average against lefties, they're 7th overall in baseball. But then if you look at against right-handed pitching, it really, really takes a hit. They're bottom 5 in batting average, dead last in isolated power against righties. They are dead last in weighted on base against righties. So that's been like that is a huge difference. And I never even looked at this until you just started talking. I just wanted to check it, but I mean that's a major difference between
Yeah.
what they do against righties and lefties, and you're more likely obviously to see a righty than a lefty just
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis. So, and then if I look at let me look at last year. Last year against righties, they were much much better. 12th in weighted on base, um, top basically top 12, top 15 and everything. So I don't know what I would have to dive in, I guess, to hitter by hitter.
Yeah.
Even batting average, I mean, they were hit. So just for reference, last year they hit 246 as a team against righties, and then this year, as obviously smaller sample, but they're hitting. It's like down like 215. Like what I would have to go player by player, but that looks like a big, issue to me at least.
Well, kind of further my point before. It's one thing that Jay's been criticized on too, is like, do they put their batters in the best position? Are they over, leveraging to the analytics coming from a data guy? Is there not enough strategy in how they're approaching things? So, like I look at it, I'm like, you got good pitching, you got a few guys that can hit bombs. It's your weakness. You gotta, and I'm sure that they think about it. Like I'm sure that it's not as simple as a fan. You just sit there and they keep trotting the same guys out in the same order, and they're considering this stuff. But you got to get a bit more creative. Like that's one of the things that I absolutely love about baseball is the chess match that occurs, the level of creativity that can happen between the managers. And I just don't feel that that's there for the Jays. It hasn't been there for years. Um, I didn't like Gibby because he didn't reference the data enough, but he was a tactical chess player.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me just because knowing where the Blue Jays front office comes from and what they did in Cleveland, I don't know. It's like you would expect them to be more, I guess, creative than they have been. Maybe they've thought they were being that and it just hasn't, panned out. I don't know. I mean, looking at the team though, I mean, I'm just looking. This is no splits. Let me go versus righties. I mean, George Springer is hitting 323 against righties. Bo Bichette 284, Vlad 277, and then it's just so like you said, they have 3 or 4 hitters. Everybody else is terrible. Kirk 210, Santander 193, Jimenez 184. I mean, it's pretty bad outside of those like top 3 guys.
Yeah, and I think that Santander will get better. New team, new environment.
Yeah, let me check him. I'll look at his baseball savant. Let me see. If he's been
And then the only other thing I was going to mention about uh, is I think it's always hilarious. I know we've talked about this before. Is the kind of hey, this guy's in a new home run friendly ballpark. We're gonna get a home run bump, and I just find it so interesting how that doesn't happen very frequently. Maybe it doesn't happen very frequently. Maybe anecdotally, it's not as common as you see. There's so many of these guys who, I think they over-index on our ballpark is more friendly.
Yeah, that could definitely be. I wanted to look at Willie Adames, speaking of that, because just because everyone made, because I saw he hit a home run the other night. So I was like, oh,
It's been a bit better
look at,
this week, yeah.
yeah, I feel maybe he's starting to heat up a little bit. I mean, his numbers, honestly, they don't look.
You want me to share my
Yeah, yeah.
our
Here, let me.
season? Yeah.
Yeah, let me. I'll stop this, and then you pop that, and I'll pop it on the screen.
All right. Here we go. Let me know when you've shared it.
This is what I see. Try again, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it was saying that instead of actually showing the screen.
How about now? Can you see it now?
Now, yeah. Now there we go.
Yeah, so this is my team. I just updated with the rosters now and refreshed the data. So you look at my boy Willie. He's starting to outpace Vlad Jr. This is from my calculated column, just to remind everyone at home. It's a Z score on home runs, RBI, runs, stolen bases, and then batting average. That's the math behind it. And then if we take a look at kind of per game, which just takes that batter ranking, then divided by at bat. The one that I was kind of surprised by is Cedena Raphael kind of being higher than expected. I was looking at it like, do I drop him? He has not turned out. I took him in the middle rounds,
Yeah.
but he hasn't been great. But Willie is climbing, because Willie on a per at bat basis, when we looked at it previously, not good. The other guy I still have in my lineup who's slowly climbing out of the basement.
Yeah, maybe that could equate to why the Rangers were so low in what I just showed you. Like he
Yeah.
has had basically his worst start to a season ever, and
Yeah.
Langford was hurt. But they're both
Yeah.
back, and Semion's been playing great the last week and a half. So maybe he's starting to wake up a little bit. He's
I'm gonna
old now.
put him in the lineup next week.
He had to get the bones loose. He's getting up
He's
there in age.
old. Yeah. He's got to stretch. He's got to, take his vitamins. Probably had cataract surgery in the summer.
Yeah, I can't believe how he's really had a great career. Like I would feel like if you said best players of the, if you asked someone best players of the 2010s, right? Like I don't really think most people would come up with Marcus Semien, but he is like extremely underrated long-term career-wise. I mean, he had a couple years he was like top 3 in MVP voting, and he was doing that on like the A's back. They made the playoffs or like the wild card a couple years there in like the late teens. Like he's had a really, really good career.
You skipped the Blue Jays where he
had a big year on the Blue. He played there 1 year.
He played there 1 year. He's essentially the best player that year, and then they let him walk. And at the time, I was like, "Yeah, you got to let him walk. He's old." And
he's still done it every year since.
That was like
it was 20
years ago, 5 years.
It was
2021. So I'm exaggerating on how long ago it was, but that was a long time ago.
He had 3 big seasons since then, including another third. He's come third in MVP voting 3 times.
Well, imagine the Jays had him now, or the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, if they would have had him the last couple seasons, that would have been a big difference.
They would have had a better bat, a second baseman, and they would have had leadership. Because that is the other thing the Jays have lacked is leadership. They don't have that strong personality in the positional players who's gonna say, "Hey, you ding dongs, quit dropping balls. Quit throwing it to the wrong base."
He hit 45 home runs that year on Toronto. Oh my God.
I know. And then I can't remember what he wanted. Like it was a lot for an old guy, but like you go back now, that would have been an absolute steal.
Yeah, if you would have said, yeah, we'll give you like a 2 3 year deal.
2 or 3 year deal, 25 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even realize he had 45 home runs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was the best player that year. And he was I can't remember exactly because I think they had a sniff at the playoffs or maybe lost in the wild card. They had all those young guys. And you could see, the intensity within him and the frustration he had with all these like kids around him. But if you'd given him 2 or 3 years to mentor Bo Vladdy, really, um,
Yeah.
I think the outcome would be a lot different. I think that the Jays today would be a significantly better team because they would have accelerated that maturity.
hmm Yeah, I agree with that. That's crazy though. But he's definitely been heating up the last week and a half.
Yeah, he's good. He's going in the lineup next week. And then the other guy that I'm kind of shocked is he had a bad week last week,
hmm
but he's still up there. We were talking about the Angels and their hot start. Is he going to continue to perform if he kind of snaps out of it and comes back? The Angels get better. What are your thoughts on Kieran?
Yeah, we'll see if he can stick, hitting, but he definitely has power. He has speed, which is two things obviously you covet, especially with somebody that you just picked up, right? It's not even like you drafted him, you just scooped him up.
Yeah,
So, yeah, as long as he can consistently get on base, he's going to keep playing. And that'll, even if the Angels are not good, it won't matter.
yeah, yeah. I expect he'll probably drop in my ranking down to here by the end of the season, and hopefully we can get these guys
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
the
your
top.
top picks a little bit higher up there.
Neto, since he's been back, has been really good. I have him in 2 leagues.
Yeah, he
I've
was
been
good.
very
I
pleased.
liked him when he was coming up through the minors. So that's good to see. He's kind of blossoming a little bit.
So again, plays in the Angels. He comes back. They start. They were starting to kind of go south before he arrived, but hasn't
hmm
really recovered them.
Yeah.
Okay, should we look at your batters so we can rip
Yeah,
apart your batters for a
that's
bit?
that's the good part of my team. Once again, I just have no pitching, and I was trying to look at these teams to
Let's
see
compare you to everybody.
if I wanted to like make some trades, but I was looking at the worst teams, and I was like, let me see. Assuming they're the worst teams, they probably need hitting. So I was looking, and because of the worst teams, they really didn't have anything I was super interested in. So I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna land here in terms of making a move. Yeah, Jorge Polanco has been incredible.
So interesting. Number one in kind of per batter. I didn't realize that. That's a heck of a pickup. What round did you draft him in?
It was towards the end of the draft because I remember we were sitting there, and I didn't take a second baseman for. It was like second baseman and closer were the two positions I just never took, and he just was like best available when it came to me. He's hitting 390.
Yeah,
He has 9 home runs. Jorge Polanco out of nowhere.
yeah, yeah.
It's crazy.
How old is he? Can I add that in this?
He's got to be
Where's date of birth?
he's got to be in his 30s. I don't think he's crazy old, but I would guess
93. He's not young.
yeah, what is that? 30 He's like 31 or 32, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Turned 32 this year.
Man, yeah, he's been on fire. Pete Crow Armstrong, not on my team, but he's been on fire. Just seeing that name right there. He's been incredible.
Yeah, how old is he? Because he was one of those. He's young. Because he was
Yeah,
one of those
he's very
guys
young.
in like last year that was fumbling around on the waiver wire. You could have picked him up and kept him. Showed a little bit of promise, but this year he's obviously been just unbelievable. And he would have been a late pick too, whoever picked him. Well,
Yeah,
EY picked him, but
he's third overall right now in wins above replacement for players,
wow.
which is pretty crazy.
And then Cal Tucker
Yes, he's been very good.
has been very good. But
That's why the Cubs were at the top of that ranking
list we
system
get.
I just showed you. They've Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong's been on fire. Some of their other guys have been good too. Like offensively, they've been very good.
Oh yeah, Suzuki.
Yeah,
I tried to trade
Suzuki's
for him.
been doing well. Yeah, Carson Kelly, even as a catcher, has been randomly very good.
I was like thinking about maybe I should try to pick him up.
Yeah, I think he got let me look at his. So I remember seeing like the first week of the season that Carson Kelly made. He had like some mechanical changes, I'm pretty sure, like in his swing or something that they had noticed in the offseason or something. But I mean, he's only played 16 games because they I don't know if he was hurt for a minute or what, but he's hitting 370 with 7 home runs.
Yeah.
That one
Well, they have
game,
that
I think.
other catcher as well who's been hitting well.
Yeah.
So I have him in my other league. It's
Yep.
Miguel and Mayhew.
Yeah. Yeah. Cubs are looking pretty good to start the season.
Yeah.
Josh Naylor has been very good too.
You know, your boy Tyler Soderstrom, he is sinking. He's no
Yes.
longer your top ranked batter.
Yeah, he has not hit almost I don't know when the last time he hit a home run was. He's had a lot of flyouts though. I actually watched the A's a decent amount. Like he's had a lot of like warning track loud flyouts, but yeah, I mean I feel like he was probably I don't know if he's hit a home run the last like 2 weeks. I think he was at 9 home runs when we talked last week. He's still at 9 home runs.
Yeah. Trent Grisham, he was one of my kind of waiver wire pickups in my other league, seeming to be a steal and could be part of that dominant Yankees offense for the whole season. I didn't expect that at the start of the year.
I didn't either. No, he hit a home run again last night. Trent Grisham.
He did. Yeah, that was what they hit 4 last night in the first inning.
Yeah, in the first like 15 pitches of the game. That's great.
Just giving balls away.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at pitchers really quick before we.
Yeah, this is where my oh Lord.
Here, let's compare.
Yeah, let's compare me and you. It's gonna be heavy in your favor. I feel like.
Oh, you got the top 3.
Yeah, I have 3 star. I just have no closers. I messed up so bad, man.
It's hard. It's very hard because like the hard part, it's one of the things that I actually quite like about using this kind of composite score to evaluate across the categories is because the sheer fact that so if you go pick up, let's say you pick up 3 or 4 closers and you over index on closers and you start them regularly, etc., then you run out of enough innings pitched to then have enough strikeouts, have enough innings for your ERA to be reasonable. You just run out of enough pitches. So what is the perfect balance? I don't know. One of the things I like about this is it balances across that. It doesn't take into account the way that ERA and WHIP and whatnot are calculated in the league. But it does kind of give you an idea of where your closers should be. And
I don't even have I had Jordan Romano and
he's been terrible.
he's not even. I mean, obviously he's not a closer anymore. But I'm saying he had one of the worst possible starts to a season you could ever have.
So you only have 2 saves total?
Yes, I literally have nobody.
Wow,
that's killing
worse
my
than I
team.
thought.
Yeah, that's what's killing my team.
That's worse than I thought. Yeah, like my whole philosophy on Helsey.
Yeah, they were chirping you for taking him. You've doubled my entire save count with one guy that they were making fun of you.
But the weird part is, so the Cardinals obviously not good, but he's only pitched in 10 games and he actually hasn't been very good. I did not expect that. I expected him to come out and throw fire so that he can get traded.
Yeah.
And he has not been very good. He's averaging 1 strikeout per inning. Not good for a closer.
Yeah, that is not good.
Like Camilo Davallo is outpitching him right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my clothes aren't great either, but I do have hope that
You
that
got
he's
way more than
gonna.
I do, though. If I
Yeah,
had your save count, I'd probably be like second or third place, I think.
yeah, that's true.
Because that's the one thing that this is really killing me.
But otherwise, you got a few guys at the bottom. But like, I actually picked him up last week in my other league, head to
Yeah, he's
head.
been hit or miss.
He
He
was
was on
bad.
fire. He was on fire to start the season, and then fell off a little
Yeah,
bit.
he was bad. And then the other guy that Kyle Freeland had a pretty good start. Uh, he should be a middling pitcher because he's their ace in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
He has not been good. He's not been good.
Yeah,
Um,
your boy from Arizona, Brandon Pfaadt, he's been very good this season, 5-1.
I know. Where's my boy Zach Gallen though? This guy has been trusty, reliable,
Yeah.
underappreciated by other teams. You can pick him up late, and then he's great. Like one year, he like nearly won me my league alone. I
Mm-hmm.
think he was my top pitcher, but he hasn't been great this year. And Brandon Alphabet has been a lot better.
Yeah, Zach Gallen, I had some concerns with him last year in terms of his health, but I think he's been a little bit unlucky this season, like in terms of the numbers that I look. Because I was looking at him the other day, so I think maybe a bounce back could be coming. He might be okay. Like if we another 2 weeks from now, we'll see what his numbers are, see if they're still that bad. But I think he might rebound a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so last comment on my JP Sears. Every year, like he's got a scarlet letter on him. No one will pick him up. No one
Yeah,
drafts him.
he's underrated.
Everyone hates on him. And then every year he's the athletics ace and at the top, like a maybe not in the top group, but in the second tier of pitching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, he's underrated.
He's always one of my fashionable waiver wire pickups, especially in streaming leagues, because he's always available. He has two starts, picking him
Yeah.
up every time.
He's one of my OG, like a few years ago when he came up, like he was a big guy that we would use in DFS, like cheap. Because people thought, oh, it's the A's, like they just suck, which I mean, not wrong, but that doesn't mean JP Sears can't pitch well. So
I don't. Well, look at this. Look at these numbers.
yeah.
So why do you think someone hasn't come and scooped him up yet? Or do you think that'll happen this year at the trade deadline?
I thought someone did. Am I like thinking of someone else?
Traded for him? I don't think so.
Let me double check
Or,
this.
or you mean on our teams? Like I have him.
Yeah, no. So yeah, okay. I guess I'm just thinking. I guess because he was on the Yankees like first run and then went to the A's.
Yeah.
So maybe I was getting that confused. But yeah, I mean, if they can get anything for him, you know how the A's operate. They'll trade him at the deadline if somebody wants him this year.
I'm surprised someone didn't take him last year.
Yeah, I mean, he threw 180 innings, like pretty solid across the board.
Well, that's it, folks.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in today. Obviously, good to look at our teams, and I thought that was some insightful NHL talk. I like to talk about that with the playoffs going on. So I'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll probably recap what went on today. Try and update these MLB power rankings a little bit more throughout the rest of the day, and we can talk about those tomorrow as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody.